Is it a buyer's market, a seller's market, or is it balanced in and around Coeur d'Alene, Idaho? In this video, I will take specific price ranges and break them down so you know which market you're looking at depending on what price range you're looking to purchase in. Welcome back to my channel, Living North Idaho, where I discuss all things about real estate in and around Coeur d'Alene and living your best life in North Idaho. When it comes to looking at the real estate market, you can't look at the entire MLS as a whole because we currently have 1,948 active homes in our entire MLS. Now, 471 have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 4.7 months of inventory, which is considered a balanced market. However, when you see how I break down the different price ranges, you'll see that's not necessarily the case for every price range. And if you're looking for a home between $400,000 and $500,000, then you're not really concerned with the homes that are over $1 million, which currently in our MLS, we have 611 homes listed over $1 million, which is 31% of that current active inventory. So that's why you want to look at the price breakdowns so that you can see how it's going to affect you with the price ranges that you're looking to purchase in. Now in this video, I will go over the entire MLS first, then I will go in and break it down into two different counties, one being Kootenai County, the next being Shoshone County. Now obviously our entire MLS is going to include Kootenai, Shoshone. It also goes into Boundary County, Bonner County, Benawah. But then when I break it down to Shoshone and Kootenai County, those will get a little bit more specific if you're only looking in those areas. For instance, if you're looking in Kootenai County, that's going to be your Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, Post Falls, Rathdrum, Athol, those areas. If you're looking in Shoshone County, that's going to be Kellogg, Pinehurst, Mullen, Wallace. So it just gives you a little bit more locational breakdown where you're looking. And if you want me to break it down for you per city, I will gladly do that too. Just feel free and reach out. So let's look at the entire MLS to start. Under 100,000. There are currently 31 active homes. In the last 30 days, there have been 10 that have sold. That gives us 3.1 months of inventory, which is leaning slightly towards a balanced market and just above a seller's market. $100,000 to $200,000. There are currently 52 active homes in this price range. There have been 19 that have sold in the last 30 days, giving us 2.7 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $200,000 to $300,000. There are currently 70 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 23 that have closed, giving us 3 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $300,000 to $400,000. There are currently 124 active homes in this price range. There have been 52 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 2.4 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $400,000 to $500,000. There are currently 217 active homes. In the last 30 days, there have been 100 that have closed, giving us 2.1 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $500,000 to $600,000. There are currently 273 active homes in this price range. There have been 82 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 3.3 months of inventory, which is slightly above a seller's market going towards a balanced market. $600,000 to $700,000. There are currently 196 active homes in this price range. There have been 60 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 3.2 months of inventory. This again is slightly above a seller's market and heading towards a balanced market. $700,000 to $800,000. There are currently 170 active homes in this price range. There have been 33 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 5.1 months of inventory, which is a balanced market. $800,000 to $900,000. There are currently 115 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 26 that have sold, giving us 4.6 months of inventory, which is a balanced market. $900,000 to $1 million. There are currently 108 active homes in this price range. There have been 20 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 5.4 months of inventory, which is a balanced market. $1 million to $2 million. There are currently 379 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 50 that have closed, giving us 7.58 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. $2 million to $3 million. There are currently 111 active homes in this price range. There have been 12 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 9.25 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. Over $3 million. There are currently 121 active homes in this price range. There have been 3 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us over 40 months of inventory in that price range, making that a buyer's market. Now, as you can see from the breakdown of those numbers, there's obviously a lot of price ranges, specifically the ones over $1 million, that tend to lean more towards a buyer's market. Then when we get under about $600,000, a lot of those tend to lean towards a seller's market, with it also being balanced in between $700,000 and $1 million. And that's why we can't really look at the entire MLS and break it down as a balanced market, because it's going to be different for each buyer depending on their price range. And if we do say that the entire MLS is balanced, then the negotiating is going to be different than if you know specifically each range on what is going on in that price range. But just because a specific price range is leaning one way doesn't mean that that particular home is going to sell quickly. For instance, if there is a home that's listed in a seller's market, but it is overpriced, it doesn't mean that it's going to sell or maybe even necessarily sell at that list price. Buyers are still very savvy on what is going on in the market and not too quick to jump into something that's overpriced. So for a seller, you're still going to want to list your home at fair market value to be able to get it sold quickly and for closer to your ask price. The longer your home sits on the market is not good when it comes to selling your home. Now that we've looked at the entire MLS, let's look at the breakdown for Kootenai County. Now again, Kootenai County is going to include Coeur d'Alene, Hayden, Dalton, Rathdrum, Post Falls, some of Athol, and just all those that are close into that area. But those are going to be the main cities that are included in Kootenai. Under 100,000. There are currently 24 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 7 that have sold, giving us 3.4 months of inventory, which is slightly above a seller's market. 100,000 to 200,000. There are currently 26 active homes in this price range. There have been 9 that have sold in the last 30 days, giving us 2.8 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $200,000 to $300,000. There are currently 19 active homes in this price range. There have been 8 that have closed within the last 30 days, giving us 2.3 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $300,000 to $400,000. There are currently 41 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 32 homes that have closed in this price range, giving us 1.2 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $400,000 to $500,000. There are currently 110 active homes in this price range. There have been 74 that have closed within the last 30 days, giving us 1.4 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. And I do have a fair amount of clients in those two price ranges, and you can see that if homes are priced right, they are going fairly quickly. So that's why it's always beneficial for buyers to have their pre-approval ready to go, because you never know when the right home's going to come on the market and you may need to act quickly, especially if it is priced right. $500,000 to $600,000. There are currently 169 active homes in this price range, and in the last 30 days, there have been 58 that have closed, giving us 2.9 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $600,000 to $700,000. There are currently 122 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 49 homes that have closed, giving us 2.4 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $700,000 to $800,000. There are currently 94 active homes in this price range, and in the last 30 days, there have been 29 that have closed, giving us 3.2 months of inventory, which is slightly above a seller's market. $800,000 to $900,000. There are currently 64 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 17 that have closed, giving us 3.7 months of inventory, which is leaning more towards a balanced market but slightly above a seller's market. $900,000 to $1 million. There are currently 67 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 13 that have closed, giving us 5.1 months of inventory, which is a balanced market. $1 million to $2 million. There are currently 226 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 35 homes that have closed, giving us 6.4 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. $2 million to $3 million. There are currently 70 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 8 that have closed, giving us 8.75 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. Over $3 million. There are currently 78 active homes in this price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 2 that have closed, giving us 39 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. So as you can see, the breakdown for just specifically Kootenai County, there are different ranges that may be more towards a seller's market than a balanced market versus when you look at the MLS as a whole. Obviously, everything over $1 million is still leaning towards that buyer's market, but that's just because we have so much inventory and so many homes for sale in those price ranges. And then again, you look more towards the $300,000 to $500,000, those tend to go fairly quickly and are leaning more towards seller's market, just because there's still active inventory in those, but homes tend to sell a lot quicker in those price ranges just because we tend to have a lot more buyers in those price ranges. Now, let's take a look at the breakdown for Shoshone County. And again, Shoshone County is going to be Kellogg, Osborne, Wallace, Mullen, Pinehurst, all those Silver Valley areas, and a little bit south. Now, there's not a lot of inventory over there, so these numbers are going to be lower than Kootenai County. There are currently no active homes under 100,000 in Shoshone, and there have been none that have closed, so there's no data for that price range. $100,000 to $200,000. There are currently 12 active homes in that price range. In the last 30 days, there have been 5 that have closed, giving us 2.4 months of inventory, which is a seller's market. $200,000 to $300,000. There are currently 18 active homes in that price range. There have been 5 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 3.6 months of inventory, which is almost a balanced market. $300,000 to $400,000. There are currently 30 active homes in this price range, and there has only been 1 that has sold in the last 30 days, giving us 30 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. $400,000 to $500,000. There are currently 19 active homes in this price range. There have been 2 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 9.5 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. $500,000 to $600,000. There are currently 7 active homes in this price range, and there have been 2 that have closed in the last 30 days, giving us 3.5 months of inventory, which is slightly above a seller's market and heading towards a balanced market. So between $600,000 and $900,000 in the Silver Valley, there are currently 12 active homes in this price range. And all these price ranges have not had a single home that has closed in the last 30 days. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of data as for where it's leaning. It's obviously leaning towards a buyer's market, but obviously there's not a lot of buyers in that price range over in that area. So sellers are going to have to adjust their price or offer some sort of incentives to get those properties sold. $900,000 to $1 million. There's currently 7 active homes in this price range, and there is 1 that has closed in the last 30 days, giving us 7 months of inventory, which is a buyer's market. $1 million to $2 million. There are 3 active homes in this price range, and in the last 30 days, there have been no sales in this price range. So again, just like those lower price ranges, it's leaning very much towards a buyer's market, and sellers are going to have to either adjust price to get those homes sold or offer some sort of incentive. And there are no homes over $2 million listed in Shoshone County. Now, cost of living is obviously different in Shoshone, and wages are different, and that's why there is different stats for different price ranges for what people are looking for in the different counties. And just another reason why you can't blanket our entire real estate market as to which way it is leaning. If you have any questions about real estate in and around Coeur d'Alene, please feel free to reach out. My name is Amanda Cuspert. I'm with the Phoenix Agency, and I would love to help you with your next purchase or sale in this area. Now, let's take a look at some tips depending on whether you are a buyer or seller and what market you are in.